She just wanted to eat in peace, but she was treated like dirt until a stranger stood up and revealed a truth that silenced everyone in the room. Muffled sounds of silverware, voices in the background, distant thunder. Soft, dramatic music begins. Slow images of a lady walking on the sidewalk, holding a worn umbrella against the light rain. Slow steps. Clean but worn clothes. The gaze, lost between past and present. Mrs. Lucia. The name might not say much to 83 years old. What does her white hair, combed with care, tied in a modest bun. Her dress is old but neat. Her shoes are worn but clean. On the wrinkled skin, marks of time and silence. On that gray Tuesday, it rained sadly. The kind of rain that seems to wash the soul of the world. But for her, it was just another lonely day. A day like so many others in which time seemed to pass more slowly, dragging memories, longing, and the weight of an entire life. Surrounded by memories, lived alone. Old picture frames, a small armchair, dusty books that she reread whenever she felt homesick. She had no more children around, not by choice, but because of the distance from life, from occupations, from the indifference that the years sometimes bring. The neighborhood knew her only as the little lady from 202, kind, discreet, almost invisible. And that day, she just wanted to get out, breathe some fresh air, escape from silence. It was something someone serving, a feeling, however brief, still being part of the outside world. He dressed calmly. An old perfume passed. She put on her favorite brooch, a gift from her husband who passed away almost 30 years ago, and he left. He walked slowly along the wet sidewalk. Cars splashed water, umbrellas crossed beside him without noticing his presence. But she kept going, steadfast, until I stopped in front of a restaurant. Not just any restaurant. It was one of the most refined, modern facade, waiters in white gloves, menu written in French. She hesitated. He looked inside. He saw well-dressed people, well-decorated dishes, and restrained laughter. But something in his chest asked to come in. Maybe it was the desire to feel alive, or just the desire to break the routine, to remember that he was still a person. He pushed the door open slowly. The sound of the soft doorbell alerted the reception. The hostess looked her up and down, but cutting the brief, almost imperceptible. "Do you have a reservation?" he asked in a rehearsed voice. Donna Lucia smiled kindly. "No, my dear, I just came to have lunch." The woman hesitated, consulted the salon. But since there was a cornered table available, he took her there. Far from the windows, far from the noblest eyes, Donna Lucia did not complain. He sat down carefully. She adjusted her bag on her lap. He took the menu. He leafed through it slowly. The names were strange, difficult to understand, but she was willing. He scanned patiently, trying to find something familiar. That's when the waiter approached, tall, young, in a hurry. He looked at her as if assessing a flaw in the landscape. "Good afternoon. Can I help you?" he said, bored. She smiled again. "Yes, you can, my son. I was looking at the menu, but it's all so different." "What exactly are you looking for?" "Maybe some rice, some grilled chicken, something simpler." His eyebrow. The waiter arched. He looked around. Then he said with a hint of irony, "Are you sure you're in the right place?" Donna Lucia was startled, didn't understand. "What do you mean, my son?" He smiled, a sneer. It's just that here it's not like home-cooked food, you know? It's more refined and expensive." She swallowed hard. He felt his face heat up. She looked at the bag on her lap where she had her wallet. "I knew how much I had. It wasn't much, but it was enough. I can afford to remain calm. I just wanted something simple." He continued, "The thing is, you're taking up a table that could be used by other customers. We're almost fully booked." Other eyes began to turn. Elegantly dressed couples whispered. A group of young people chuckled softly. The ambient music seemed louder, colder, and she getting smaller and smaller in that chair. Donna Lucia clutched her purse. His pride tried to resist, but the humiliation was a weight on his fragile shoulders. "If it's a problem, I can leave," he said, his voice trembling. But before she could get up, something happened. A man, who had been silent until then, got up from a nearby table. Firm gaze, dark suit, confident posture. He walked up to the waiter, and silence fell over the room. Who was that man? Why did you get up? What did he know about that lady? Everyone stopped to watch, some with disdain, others with curiosity, but no one expected what he was about to say. Impatient, the waiter, it wasn't the first time I'd seen someone outside the norm enter there. But that afternoon, the target was a lady who just wanted a plate of food. And that, to him, seemed like enough reason to show that their appearance was worth more than anything. "Are you sure you're in the right place?" He repeated, now with a half-smile that mixed irony and mockery. Donna Lucia widened her eyes, not understanding. He looked around, searching for some kind of welcome, but all he found were curious, distant looks, devoid of empathy. The waiter came closer, lowering his tone as if he wanted to humiliate without compromising. "This isn't charity soup, you know. You can't just sit around looking at the menu." A nearby couple exchanged discreet laughs. One of the young men pointed with his chin, as if making an inappropriate joke, and she just looked down. She held her bag tightly. I wanted to disappear. He took a deep breath, trying to maintain his composure. He tried to speak with dignity, even with the lump in his throat. "I have money. I just wanted to eat. That's all." The waiter shrugged impassively. "You can't sit at a table if you're not actually going to eat. We have important clients waiting." That last sentence, like a stab. She, who throughout her life treated every person with respect. She, who has already taught so many to be people. Now she was treated like dead weight in a place where status seemed to be worth more than humanity. Maybe you've already witnessed a scene like this. Perhaps you have already felt the revolt of seeing someone humiliated for not fitting the standard. Or maybe you've been that person yourself, too ignored, too discarded. What is not seen is not heard. Donna Lucia felt her eyes burn. The shame came in waves. But what hurt the most wasn't the waiter. It was silence. The silence of those who saw and said nothing. But as in every story, destiny has its own plans. And it was then that, meters away, just a man stood up. He wore a dark suit, discreet, elegant. He had the serious look of someone who has seen the worst of the world, but he still carries a sense of justice alive in his chest. He wasn't part of the problem, but he decided to be part of the solution. He took a few steps towards the scene. He looked first at the waiter, then at Donna Lucia. His expression was serious, but his tone of voice was direct, firm, unshakable. This woman, is the owner of the building where this restaurant operates. Silence. The kind of silence that screams. The waiter froze. The laughter stopped. Even the cutlery stopped moving. The customers looked at each other in shock. The manager, who had been listening to everything from the counter, jumped to his feet. Donna Lucia didn't say anything. She just widened her eyes. This woman gave up the space for this restaurant more than 20 years ago for a symbolic amount. Continued the man. She was a teacher. She trained hundreds of students. In fact, the owner of this restaurant was one of them. The words fell like hammer blows. Each sentence was a mirror for everyone inside, and every face reflected a mixture of guilt, surprise, and embarrassment. That lady, invisible until seconds ago, humiliated, now he was someone important, someone with a story. But more than that, she was living proof of how quick we are to judge and slow to listen. Did you also feel that lump in your throat to stand up for someone desire who was being treated with disrespect? This anguish that only injustice brings? Because the story of Donna Lucia, it's far from over here. What happened next? The words she said, the manager's reaction, and the most shocking revelation of all, you will find out now in the next part. But before you continue, take a deep breath, because the next scene, it will give you goosebumps. Silence. That kind of silence that weighs heavily. That screams louder than any voice. The restaurant, which until seconds ago had been buzzing with suppressed laughter and idle conversation, was now silent. The waiter, motionless, his expression of contempt had disappeared. In its place, a contained dread, as if seeing an irreversible error unfold before one's eyes. The manager emerged from the back of the room, visibly disconcerted. He tried to understand what was happening or how it had gotten out of his control. But the man in the dark suit, that stranger who decided to intervene, kept talking, now even more firmly. And with each word, the ground beneath everyone's feet seemed to tremble. For years, this woman lent the space where this restaurant is located for a symbolic amount. She did it not for the money, but because she believed in supporting those who wanted to grow. Everyone listened. No one dared to interrupt. He pointed to Donna Lucia, who was still sitting, confused with tears in her eyes. She was a teacher for over 40 years. She educated generations. She trained doctors, judges, professors, even politicians. People who today have a voice and prestige because a woman like her believed that teaching could change lives. And then, with a painful pause, he added, including the owner of this restaurant. He was her student. A shock wave ran through the hall. The owner's name was well known, a respected businessman, and there she was, invisible, humiliated, treated as a nuisance, as if its value was measured only by what it used, how much it consumed, by what it looked like. The laughter that had previously echoed in a mocking tone now turned into embarrassed looks. People who had previously watched the scene with indifference now lowered their heads, uncomfortable. And Mrs. Lucia, she didn't say anything. I just tried to hold back my tears. His face trembled, not with anger, but with sadness, a deep, silent sadness of someone who had already expected it, but never stopped being hurt. Her most wasn't the public humiliation, but the realization is that for many people, what you've done is worth nothing compared to what you appear to be now. The manager, with a nervous smile and a trembling voice, tried to remedy the situation. "1,000 apologies, Mrs. Lucia. There's been a misunderstanding. Please accept our best dish. It's on the house. Sit at the best table. We can even bring you a special souvenir." But she just looked into his eyes of someone who's seen the world spin many times. And he answered, "I don't want a free dish. I just want it to be treated with respect." Once again, silence. But now it was a conscience-stricken silence. Donna Lucia got up calmly. She grabbed her bag. He adjusted his coat on his shoulder, and even with fragile legs, he walked with dignity towards the exit. The man who defended her approached. He offered his arm respectfully. She accepted with a slight nod, and together they left. Meanwhile, the restaurant remained in suspense. Not a single waiter moved. No customer returned to the conversation, because something had changed there. Not just the image of that lady, but the way each person came to see themselves. Do you feel that way too? That mixture of embarrassment, admiration, and a knot in your chest? How many times are people like Donna Lucia ignored, made invisible, diminished, even though they have carried the world on their shoulders for decades? How often does respect depend on appearance, not history? This story is not over yet, because what happened outside, what that woman said before getting into the car, and how the restaurant owner reacted when he found out everything, it will surprise you. And maybe it will make you reconsider the way you look at others. The light rain was still falling outside. Drops ran down the restaurant windows, as if the city itself was crying for what had just happened. Donna Lucia walked slowly to the door, accompanied by the man who had stood up for her. Not a word was said in there. It wasn't necessary. The truth had already been spoken with strength, with courage, with dignity. She refused the free dish. He refused the special table. He refused the fake smiles that tried, too late, to fix what had been broken. Because there are things that can't be resolved with a gift. Respect, for example. This cannot be handed to you on a silver platter after the damage is done. Outside, the man opened his umbrella and held out his arm. Donna Lucia, with a slight nod, accepted. The two walked together in silence to the car. He helped her in, held the door for a second, and then said, "You probably don't remember me, but I was your student. In 8th grade, you were the first person who believed I could be something. The first to call me smart, brave, the first to tell me I had value." She looked at him, surprised. He tried to pull up his memory, but the faces from the past were jumbled, together like old photographs faded by time. "Today I am a judge because of you." A reverent silence took over the moment. She couldn't answer. The emotion, which had been contained the entire time, finally overflowed from his eyes. But this time, it wasn't sadness, it was something deeper. It was a relief to know that even in the face of so much indifference, he had left a legacy. That her worth was not in the eyes of those who judged her, but in the hearts of those who had been touched by her. He held her hand for a brief second and said, "You weren't alone today, nor will you be." Then he closed the door gently, and he saw the car slowly drive off down the wet street. Inside, Donna Lucia looked out the window again, this time with a different look, not from sadness, but of hope. And perhaps the greatest lesson of that afternoon was not about justice, not about status or power, Maybe it was about humanity. How many times every day do we look at someone and think we just by what they wear, by where you're sitting, by the type of shoes, by the color of the hair, by the age? How many times do we judge before asking, before listening? Donna Lucia could be your grandmother, your mother, a neighbor, or even you, because the pain of contempt is universal, and the hunger for respect is one of the cruelest. As you listen to this story, think, how many Lucias are there out there who have given their all, who have shaped generations, who have made the world a better place, and today they are invisible, disregarded in queues, ignored in stores, mistreated in silence? Isn't it time we opened our eyes more? Should we change our focus of learning to see not what someone looks like, but who is this person? In the end, Donna Lucia didn't ask for anything. He didn't demand anything. She just wanted respect. And sometimes that's enough to reveal who we really are. Because when a society fails to recognize those who came before, she is, little by little, forgetting where she came from. And if you think this story ended here, you are mistaken. What happened days later? A twist involving the restaurant owner, an unexpected letter, and a decision that shook the entire city. You will find out in the next chapter, and believe me, this will mess with you. Donna Lucia walked out of the restaurant with slow but firm steps. The world inside was still trying to digest what had happened, but she didn't need anything else. Not even applause, not even compensation, much less a free dish. The dignity with which he left that place was, in itself, the greatest example of strength that anyone could leave. Beside her, the man in the suit, her former student, held the umbrella, protecting her from the light rain that now seemed less cold. He guided her to a simple car parked nearby. Before she entered, he lightly touched her shoulder. "You don't remember me, but I never forgot you." Lucia looked at him with teary eyes. And there, in that moment, she didn't just see a successful man. She saw a piece of her past that blossomed, a silent fruit of his decades of dedication. "You changed my life. When no one believed in me, you did." Those words hung in the air. They were light, but carried a weight that only those who have shaped souls can understand. She tried to pull it from her memory, but so many faces, so many names, time erases details. Was not to see that today I am a judge because of you. He completed, and Donna Lucia, in silence, nodded with a restrained smile and discreet tears, a gesture of someone who has finally been seen, not by appearance, not by position, but by value. Perhaps the great lesson of that day was not about status, nor about legal justice. Maybe it was about human justice, about that which is born from empathy, from recognition, from a look that sees beyond the obvious. Because there was a woman who shaped generations and was reduced to nobody because of a simple dress and white hair. And how often does this happen around us? How many incredible people, full of history and value, are humiliated every day just because the world has become blind, blinded by luxury, for immediacy, for the rush, for the judgment. How many Lucias walk among us in silence, swallowing their tears in the face of eyes that treat them as if they were invisible? Maybe you know one. Maybe it's your grandmother's neighbor, the forgetful teacher at school, or even someone you work with, but who you've never really noticed. This story, real or not, could have happened today by your side. And she only leaves one certainty. Humanity is not a trait, it's a choice, every day. And you? Have you ever witnessed an injustice like this? How would you act if you were in that restaurant that day? Would you remain silent, or would you stand up? Leave your comment below. Be honest. Share your story can inspire others to see beyond appearances. Practical application to encourage objective feedback. Suggestions for commenting. I've seen something similar happen when, if it were me, I would have. That reminded me of the time when this story touched me, because these examples help viewers engage more and create a genuine connection with the content. Encourage personal responses, and you'll see an increase in community engagement. Like this video, subscribe, activate the bell to receive more stories like this that touch, move, and make us think. Your participation is not only welcome, it's essential. It is through your comments, your presence, that stories like Donna Lucia's remain alive and make a difference.